Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do the folklore book tag, which was created by Enchanted Reader. I will leave her channel down below. But I am so sad that I wasn't fast enough to create this book tag myself. I woke up today and I thought about it and then I looked it up and it already existed and I was like, well, and she created it the very next day, but props to her. She did a very good job. The questions are really good and I really enjoyed watching her videos, so check out her channel down below. She seems like a really nice person. But yeah, there are 16 prompts in this tag, each one corresponding with a song off of folklore. I've been listening to it ever since it came out. Let's go ahead and start with the first question. So the first prompt was one of the hardest ones for me to complete, and it's for a couple that you don't agree with. I find that in most books, I agree with couples. I don't read a lot of books that have love triangles or, people break up, cheat, things like that. I don't tend to read books like that, but I found a very obvious one, and that is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero O'Connell, because Laura Dean is a horrible garbage human that keeps breaking up with our protagonist Freddie. Their relationship I don't agree with to begin with. I don't agree that Laura Dean deserves Freddie. I don't agree with Freddie for ever wanting to be with her. I just don't understand. This relationship, not good. Not good at all. And I'm not gonna say whether or not they stay together, but I'm just gonna say that there's a lot of ups and downs in this relationship. And yeah, read this book if you wanna read about the frustrating Laura Dean, but know that she's frustrating and you're gonna hate her when you read about her. And the next prompt is Cardigan, a book that you loved but the ending disappointed you. And for that one, again, it was a little bit hard to figure out which one, but then I remembered one of the books that I read in the past month, and that was The Institute by Stephen King. The Institute had a very cool premise and overall it was going well, but the ending was a little bit disappointing and anticlimactic. If you want to learn more about what I thought, check out my July wrap-up. I talk a little bit more about it in that video, but yeah, overall a good book with an ending that didn't do that much. The Last Great American Dynasty, a villain that you can't help but love. There was one that I kept thinking about, and I don't think there are any books that I love villains from, but this one I definitely feel for. I don't know if I love him. I'm always on the edge whether or not I consider him a villain or if I just, sympathize with him, but that is none other than Holland from A Darker Shade of Magic series. Especially in the first book, you just see the way he's treated and the things that he goes through, and you can't help but feel for him. And then in the later books, you see more of his backstory, and again, you just can't help but see that it's not all black and white. I love A Darker Shade of Magic series, would highly recommend you check it out if you haven't yet. It's an amazing fantasy series. I'm not gonna explain what it's about, but all of the links to all of the books will be down below in the description, so check them out if you're interested in knowing more about any of the books that I mentioned. So the next prompt is Exile, your favorite dark, hard-hitting contemporary. And for this one, I chose none other than They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera, which is one of my absolute favorite contemporary books I have ever read. I read this book last year. It made me feel so much and it made me think so much, and for months after, I just kept thinking about the book and the story. And I mean, the title says it all. They both die at the end. It's a book about two kids who are destined to die on the day that they meet, and it's just about their last day on Earth. It's very hard-hitting and it's very dark, and I really want to learn more about the world where people get a notification on the day that they die. I just find that concept crazy and I want to know more. I want to know how. I want to know the history, everything that's happened. Adam Silvera, even though he wrote this contemporary in a very realistic way, these elements just intrigued me so much and I wanted to know more. I think the system that he developed is so interesting. And by the way, Exile is my favorite song on the album. I love Exile so much. This is the only song on the album that features a guest artist. I don't listen to Bon Iver, but really enjoy their duet. I really love how they complement each other in that song. So the next prompt is My Tears Ricochet character death that destroyed you. And oh boy, do I need to say anything? If you haven't watched the movies or read the books, I'm not gonna say which character, and actually it's not just one character, but one character specifically that dies that just makes me so... I honestly, I can't process that that character died. I cannot process it. In my head, they don't. So I'm in denial. Even though I've known this story, I've watched the movies a million times, I'm rereading the books right now, and I'm just waiting. I'm still at the beginning, so we still have some time with those characters that are gonna die. In this book in general, there are so many people that die. But yeah, if you've seen the movies or read the books, you know who I'm talking about, and heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking, especially for me. Again, I'm not gonna say why, because it's gonna be a spoiler if you haven't seen the book or read the movie.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
But I personally really feel for that death. There you have it. I'm in denial. The next prompt is Mirror Ball, a character that goes through a lot of character development, and for that one I chose One of Us is Lying by Karen McManus, and the character that I'm talking about is Addie. I keep talking about Addie because I love Addie, and every time I talk about her, I say how I absolutely hated her at the beginning of the book. I despised her character, and then I ended up loving her, and she's one of my all-time favorite characters. Now, that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say how she's involved or what happens with her, because this is a murder mystery, so I don't wanna give away anything, but I'm just gonna say that Addie goes through so much character development, and if you pick this book up and you hate her, just give her a chance, because there's gonna be some things that are gonna happen that might change your mind about her. That's all I'm gonna say. Addie. Addie is amazing. 7. Your favorite childhood book. So for that one, I was debating between two book series that I read both around the same time when I was around 10 or 11, and I loved both of them. But I decided that the one that I was very excited for and always just think fondly of is Molly Moon's Incredible Book of Hypnotism by Georgia Bing. So this is a book series that now has 6 books, but by the time that I was reading it, it only had 4. And I read the first 4 and I absolutely loved them. I just look back on these books with fond memories. I remember my grandpa reading them at first to me, and then I started reading them on my own. I know that if I read them now, it's just gonna not be the same. I'm not gonna have the same reaction, because I did try to read the first book to my sister, and then I was just not enjoying it as much. But in my head, these books have so much value to me as a child that I don't want to taint those memories by rereading the books, because they are clearly written for kids. They're not written for an adult, and I don't think they're very readable by an adult, at least at the time that we live in now. But as a child, I loved these books so much, and if you have any younger siblings or children who are in the age range of like 8 to 11, I would highly recommend these books. They're so fun. So the next prompt is August, your favorite summertime read. Whenever I feel in the mood to read something summery, contemporary, romance, something very light and fluffy, I turn to Casey West. So I'm not gonna say a specific book. I've read Love, Life, and the List and Fame, Fate, and the First Kiss by her, which are companion novels, but overall Casey West just writes a lot of nice fluffy summertime contemporary books. Yeah, I would just say anything that Casey West writes is probably something that I would consider if I'm really feeling the summer mood. This Is Me Trying, a book that always pulls you out of a reading slump. I just want to say that This Is Me Trying is another one of my favorite songs on the album, because I personally just feel so called out by it. Some of the lyrics, I feel like they're about me. Even though the song does talk about a relationship, I like to interpret it more so in the sense of just life in general and not specifically a relationship, because in that sense it wouldn't apply to me. But in terms of just life, it kind of really does. So when I was listening to the song, I remember just hearing the lyrics and I was like, oh my god, what happened? So I'm just looking up the lyrics just so that I can give you some context of what I'm talking about. So the second verse specifically is what I just felt very deeply in my heart. They told me all of my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential, and my words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lot of regrets about that. I was so ahead of the curve became a sphere. Fell behind all my classmates, and I ended up here, pouring out my heart to a stranger, but I didn't pour the whiskey. I literally have goosebumps just reading that because my heart just feels those lyrics so much. Not directly, I don't like get wasted and sit in a bar and talk to people, but it's just the whole state of the mind. But yeah, anyways, the book that helps me get out of a reading slump is Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I feel like there should be a shot game for every time I bring up Fangirl in any of my videos, because you would get wasted like all my potential. It's just every single video I mentioned this book, and for good reason. This is my favorite contemporary book of all time. I've read this about 6 or 7 times, and I just read this whenever I don't feel like reading anything else, and it will always get me in the mood for reading, not only because I just know this book so thoroughly and I can just flip through and find my favorite parts and I can just fly through it, but also because Kath, who is the main character in this book, she's a writer and she writes fan fiction, and you can't help but want to read while you're reading about her because she's such a book nerd. It just gets you excited about books. So yeah, this book definitely gets me out of the reading slump. Take a shot. So the next prompt is illicit affairs, your favorite guilty pleasure read. And I don't think I really have any guilty pleasure read, but there is a specific type of fantasy that I like to turn to whenever I just want something fluffy but not contemporary. One example of such books that are absolutely like book candy to me is the Folk of the Air trilogy, so The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. It's guilty pleasure because I just have so much fun reading those books. They're like having a bag of candy all to yourself, you know? You're just eating it up. It's amazing. No matter like what happens in the book, you just take it. It's like, it could be ridiculous. There could be some things that are weird or problematic or, you know, not morally good, but you're just taking it all in and you're just enjoying the ride without like paying attention to any of those nuances. So the Folk of the Air trilogy is definitely my guilty pleasure read. I would definitely want to reread it probably every year from now on, just because I just love it. I really need to buy the physical books so that I can own them and read them whenever I feel like it, because they're quick and fun and yeah, amazing. So the next prompt is invisible string, your book boyfriend or girlfriend. I recently did a tag where I also answered a similar question, but it's gonna be the same answer, and it's Thomas Creswell from Stalking Jack the Ripper series. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk much about him. I'm just gonna say that he's a super funny, cool, confident guy who's just always so upfront about his feelings to our main character, and I just love it. I mean, I love their romance. It's not like I want him to be my boyfriend. I just feel like out of book boyfriends, he's the kind of person that I just enjoy reading him in context of a relationship the most. He's wonderful. He's so funny, and I really love how confident he is. It's amazing. So the next prompt is Mad Woman, name your favorite badass female protagonist. And guys, get your shot glasses ready because I'm about to mention another book that I never shut up about, and it's none other than Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Such a basic booktube girl for liking this book, but I just love this so much. And Nina and Dinesh are both such badass females that are amazing, and I love them both so much. They're so unique, but they're so amazing, and they're different, but they're both so strong. They're going through so much, and they have to deal with so much hardship, and they have to be so smart and resourceful. They're just great. They're both great in their own ways, and I love their friendship so much. We need more friendships like Nina and Dinesh. I just love seeing strong female friendships between two women who both have their own accomplishments, and they're not trying to go behind each other's back and like undermine each other. They're not fighting for a guy. They're just their own people who are doing their own thing and they're good at it. And they're both amazing, strong women. I mean, I'm not gonna say I encourage you to read this book because I say that in every single video, just like fangirl, so it's looking at you and it wants you to read it if you haven't. So yeah, I'm not gonna put it far away because one of the next prompts is also gonna be Six of Crows, so yeah. So the next prompt is Epiphany, a character that has overcome a lot. Epiphany is one of my other favorite songs. It just hits really hard and makes me think of war every time and of just human helplessness and grief. One of my favorite characters that I read about that has overcome a lot is Laia from The Heart of Betrayal or The Remnant Chronicles. The Heart of Betrayal is the second book, and I specifically wanted to highlight the second book because while she does have a lot of hardships that she has to overcome in the first book, there's one specific scene among other horrible things that happen in the second book that when I was reading just broke my heart for Laia. I could not comprehend how she kept holding herself together. I couldn't comprehend how she could stay so strong. And definitely Laia has to go through so much through these books. She has no choice but to grow and to become strong and resilient and smart and adapt to the situations. She goes through one of the craziest character growths, and even though from the very beginning she's smart and she's a very lovable character, she just becomes such a badass. So another badass female right there, but she also has a very big character growth that I definitely enjoyed seeing in her. So if you really want something harrowing where people have to go through a lot and there's a lot of political intrigue, this YA fantasy series is absolutely amazing. I would highly recommend checking it out. So the next prompt is Betty, a character that deserved better. And for this one, I decided to go with a classic, and I chose Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I mean, I think most people have either read Jane Eyre or they've watched the movie, they're familiar with the plot. Jane just goes through so much hardship for no good reason. She gets treated so poorly by her family. I guess they're not her mother and father, but you know, the family that she is related to by blood, and she gets treated so horribly. She's like Cinderella at the beginning, and then she has to, you know, suffer through this horrible school with horrible teachers, and then she gets hired and she has to suffer from people just being rude and mean to her because she's like a teacher. She's not, you know, a high up person. She doesn't have fancy dresses or anything like that. And all of these things, even though Jane is such a nice, humble, sweet person, doesn't do anyone any damage. She just always endures so much hatred and unfair treatment, and it's really saddening to see how people don't really need a reason to treat someone badly. And yeah, Jane, she deserved so much better. Okay, and the next prompt is Peace, your favorite fictional couple, and the bonus points are if they've been through a lot. And I do get bonus points because Six of Crows yet again. This time I'm going to be talking about Inej and Kaz because Inej and Kaz are everything. I love all of the couples in these books, and I know a lot of people hate when people get like all coupled up. Why can't people stay single? And I agree with that statement, but personally in these books I agree with all the couples, and I'm very happy with people being in the relationships that they're in, so I have no complaints. But Inej and Kaz specifically, not only do they go through a lot individually as people, they also go through a lot while completing the heist and then dealing with the consequences of the heist. All of the crazy things that they go through and how their bond just gets stronger throughout the books. I love their relationship. They have a very unique relationship that you will never see in any other books because of specific circumstances. If you've read the books, you will know. it's something else. They have to go through so much together, and yeah, I love everyone in Six of Crows, and having my two favorite characters together is amazing. I don't ever care about relationships, but I care about this one. They're so badass and they're so crazy. Great. Okay, and the last prompt is Hoax, a fictional breakup that destroyed you. And for that one, I actually don't have any books. So yeah, I just looked through all of the books that I've read that I've added on my Goodreads. Not only do I not have many books where there were breakups in general, there weren't any books where I cared about the breakups that did happen. Maybe I'm missing something, but I genuinely couldn't find one. I guess I tend to just agree with the authors in their decision making regarding the couples that they choose to pair up together. But yeah, that's it. Those were all of the prompts for the folklore tag. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I love doing tags. I get to talk about different books that I might otherwise not mention in any videos. And I also get to talk about the books that I love 100,000 times and just annoy you all until you eventually read them, which is my goal in life. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please remember that links to all of the books that I mentioned in this video are down below in the description. So if you want to learn more about any of the books that I mentioned, you can find them down below. Please chat to me in the comments, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!